Welcome to another episode of Elephant in the Room. We're in the Black and White Society. We discuss the gray area. And that gray area is understanding. So today, the episode title, Black Trauma is America's Favorite Form of Entertainment. So today I got my boys with me. Let's start with Mr. Brandon Hammond over here.
What up, bro?
Man, it's so much shit. I can't even I'd spend the whole episode just talking about all the shit you've done and been on and all that. But his most famous role is Ahmad in Soul Food.
Soul Food, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So Black American classic, man, for sure.
Black American classic. Sure. And then to the right, I got my boy, Mr. Dame Crawford. Dame, also, long list, but I'd say Dame's most famous would be Wild Bunch. Musically, has some songs on Madden. You probably heard his stuff a lot of places you just don't know about.
Yeah. He's a big deal.
Yeah. But also, too, he's a big deal. But also, like me, they multi-hyphenates. So these brothers are, we haven't came up with a name yet. Remember we discussed Three Dope Brothers?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. So we're...
we gotta lock that down.
We do.
We
gotta
lock that down. Yeah. So we're partners in the filmmaking game. And we got a lot of dope stuff coming up for sure. So I'm glad we were able to come here today.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, man.
Of course.
Happy to be here.
Proud of you too, man, with the platform, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Sure.
Big ups to Chris behind the camera. You want to jump the camera one time? I know. He's like, I'm cool back here. I'm chilling. So today's title is Black Trauma is America's Favorite Form of Entertainment. So just from the title, what's y'all feelings on that?
I'll start. I agree 100%. As you know, we've had discussions about trying to show the joy of Blackness because so much of our stories that have been told have been trauma-based and trauma bonding. And though those stories are important, I would compare us to our Jewish brothers and sisters, right? For every Schindler's List, there's like a Weekend at Bernie's or Back to the Future, so it's like their stories get to be more expansive. But for us, for every Boys in the Hood, then there's a Menace to Society. And then there's, you know what I mean? So I feel like we don't get to explore all those spaces. So it feels like our trauma is the only place that they can find creativity within us.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. And it's so funny because the title is like, and literally and figuratively, right? Like in entertainment and in life, what like leads, right? What they say, if it bleeds, it leads type stuff. And it's kind of ironic that that I'm on here because you think about a film like Soul Food, right?
And it's not ironic, brother. This is all.
This is
strategic.
Right. It's all purposeful.
Yeah.
Right? You think about a film like Soul Food. What made that remarkable is because of what you just said, big bro. Like, before that, think about the film that the studios thought we wanted to see. Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, South Central, Fresh, all these Black trauma-based films, right?
Yeah.
So you get a film like Soul Food that breaks through. It's like, hold up. They like seeing Black people that got jobs and regular family issues, like our white brothers and sisters, like.
Yeah, I thought Soul Food and Boomerang. I thought Soul Food and Boomerang literally changed the game in the way Black people were able to be looked at on film.
Great example.
Because like Boomerang was the first time you seen like the Black people were the successful ones in the company.
Yes.
The Black people were like, they looked fly.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Weren't they like ad execs?
Yeah, they were ad execs. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, because like I said before that, niggas was in the mailroom.
Right.
They was, you know what I'm saying? It was but
in the hair shop.
Yeah, in the hair shop. Yeah, it was very limited how we were seen. And we were never really seen as like working professionals, not successful, like executives.
Yep.
Watching that, I remember as a kid, like, when that came out, I was like, oh, we look dope. I remember that, like,
That's
we
dope,
look
bro.
dope. And
Yes.
like, because, Eddie hair was on
Right,
point. Like,
yes.
and even the
Wardrobe,
conversations
yep.
felt more realistic.
Yep.
Because a lot of times you could tell when white people are writing for black people or when black people are involved
Facts.
in the writing. And
Facts.
so them, it wasn't even the famous scenes. It was the little scenes like them on the rowing machine talking.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
In the gym. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's us. That's real.
A real conversation.
Then when I saw Soul Food, and you see the family making, because that was my family, and I think that's why Soul Food resonates to this day.
Absolutely.
To everybody who had a big mama.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Bro. Like to everybody who had a big mama, everybody who had auntie, we all got that auntie. Everybody got a cousin Faye, little hoe cousin. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it resonates because it's like that was like the layered version of Black life finally being shown.
That part, bro.
On film.
Boomerang was a great example, bro.
Yeah, because like I said, I never forget, and I bring this up a lot because I think a lot of times Boomerang doesn't get the credit.
It gets slept on a little bit, yeah.
Because I think Boomerang is not one of the greatest Black films. I think Boomerang is one of the greatest films.
Say that again, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not only the way it was shot, the way it looks, the acting, the classic moments. You know, I thought, and you know, me and you talk about this all the time. Sometimes you want to make a Black movie, or you just want to make a movie that was made by Black people.
So let me pull it back. We can talk film all day.
Right.
I know we can. Let's go to a different area of Black trauma. So let's go to how even in the highest positions, the Black trauma is that we get questioned on our Blackness. And I want to go to, and I don't care about politicians, right? In my opinion, no politician has really done anything for us, no matter what color. So, but I do want to talk about Obama and Kamala because when Obama was president, even running, and then when Kamala was running, everyone starts going about how Black are you? What's your roots? What type of Black are you from? Jamaican, you Nigerian, you blah, 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 blah. Name me one politician where they ask what part of Europe you're from. None. Yeah. They never had a question about that. Why? Because they see them as American.
Yeah.
And are we specifically talking about the whole birth certificate thing with
all that
Trump questioning?
All that. Yeah, because I was even talking to someone who they weren't a fan of Kamala at all.
Did they give a reason why?
Yeah, but that'll be a whole conversation. But the point is that even he was Black, and the point is that even he was like saying how she was pandering to the Black community and doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, whether you agree with that or not, why can't we just look at it as this is another Black person somewhere where a lot of Black people aren't? And go ahead.
You know, right. Well, I don't know about you. First of all, whenever someone says that to, I want to ask what is pandering? What do they mean?
So they mean,
and I realize, but the funny thing is, I found that 9 times out of 10 they can't answer that adequately. Maybe he can.
Yeah.
But have you found that, like, when you ask, like,
oh, you already know. I've had like on my podcast, I've had 2 Black Trump supporters, and we talked for 2.5 hours about what they didn't like about Kamala. Literally 2 hours. But then in the last 10 minutes of both of those interviews, it basically came down to they don't believe a Black woman should be president. That's what it like out of all these we talked about. What it boils down to.
Yeah, which is dumb as hell. Because they like, we don't think a woman. I was like, first off, if Hillary didn't win, if they didn't want a white woman to be in, what you think they don't want a Black woman to be in for sure. Right.
But I'm glad you brought that up though, because even the way we discussed that is part of our trauma.
That's what I'm saying. Even the way we still separate.
Yeah, even the way we talk about Blackness is part of our trauma, because you talk about, because that goes into colorism, and that goes into culture. Because like just to make the comparison, I think a lot of the Kamala stuff it was discussed was kind of along the lines, not the same, but along the lines of like Kendrick and Drake. Mm-hmm. Like Barack would be Kendrick, like, oh, he a real nigga, we fuck with it. And then it's like Kamala, like, I don't know if she a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what it, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it boiled down to. and of course there was some sexism, some extra sexism season in there. But even the way we talk about our blackness, I think, is a part of our shared trauma, because sometimes we overprotect our blackness only because we feel like we've been infiltrated so many times, and we feel like we've been bamboozled so many times.
Well, not feel like we have.
We have, right? Yeah, we literally have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's funny when people are like, y'all got a victim mentality. I'm like, well, nigga, we were actually victims. Like,
I hate when people say that shit. Every time I hear someone say the victim
Like-
mentality, I'm like, you can't play victim.
you can't play
are
victim
the
when you
victims.
actually, like, there's factual basis for us. We were actually victims of the things that we went. But you know what I'm saying? But to take it back to what you were saying, like the way we deal with blackness, a lot of times, it's a lot of trauma behind it. And a lot of that is because, one, and I'm glad I get to say this on the platform, but I say this even on like my own Facebook posts or Instagram. I say, I think if you're black in America, more specifically a black man in America, you need therapy. Just based off of, like, even if you think everything is all right, even if you think you had a great upbringing, you had 2-parent households, and you think everything is perfect, just existing as a black man in America comes with some trauma. And we all should have therapy for what we thought was normal. Like, I thought it was normal to get pulled over by the police 10 times. Like, I thought, like, that shit not normal. I thought it was normal, like, for the homies get killed on the block. Like, we things that we think are normal, you like, that's not normal. So we are like, a lot of us are living in the red.
Yeah, you know what I hate hearing, and then I also do it too, is people say, I'm used to it. Well, black people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about black people since we on it. Black people say, like, I'm used to it, right? Oh, I'm used to them shouting the N-word at me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Keep it moving. But that's how we are too. It's like we really aren't trying to.
Well, first of all, we're trying to survive and persevere.
Right. But I think the main thing, well, not the main thing, I know the main thing with us is that we just want to fucking live. Simple. Just be left alone. And I think even like politics, this is getting off topic, but I think the racist white people think if we were to get in power, that we would do to them what they do to us.
100%.
But
they don't realize we don't have the soul to hang people and let our kids watch us hang people. We don't have the soul to do that. Yeah.
Wild to me that was lynching was.
Well, I'm finna say, even that though, you think about the images that we grew up on, the things we saw in history books, as opposed to what white people saw in history books. So we see lynchings in history books, we see hangings, literally trauma in the 3rd grade.
Right.
Dead bodies stacked.
Yeah, dead bodies. Like, we seeing so that's what I say when it comes to what you talk about, like, black trauma is entertainment. I think it's bigger than
black trauma is America's favorite form of
entertainment. Yeah, it's favorite form. I think it's true in the sense that it's even bigger than just being actually in entertainment, figuratively, but like literally, like that black trauma been brought to us as kids.
Right. And so
no, that's what and that's part of, like you say, in film, right? And do you know how many of my friends could relate more to Soul Food and Boomerang than Boys in the Hood and Menace?
Right.
But let the studios or America tell us it's the other way around, right? It's like Martin has a famous, in the pilot, he goes, no, I don't want to be caught up at one of your parties where I'm talking to a white person, like saying, Martin, I just saw Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
I didn't know Martin. I didn't, like, and it's the funniest thing because they now think that was our normal for everybody black. But yeah, man, it's funny. I had a question too for y'all about, do y'all feel like so I forget who said it, but someone said, if someone white wanted to make a film about a man and his dog, right, that film could get greenlit. But if a black person wanted to, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that. Are there any black shows or movies about black people just existing? Like, where it's like, it's not this Herculean, like, thing to overcome in life, and it's just about a black guy and his dog.
No.
No, you
I
can't
don't think that
say.
exists.
You know what's funny? I wrote a pilot. I think maybe I sent it to y'all like 5 years ago, bro. And it was just called Mason, my last name.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
What was it called?
Mason. But it's like the
Gotcha.
Black Seinfeld.
Okay.
Just existing. Simple.
We need that, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
But the hard part is, finances is the hardest part. So just getting that and then getting it out to all the platforms. Like, yeah, we can post stuff online ourselves now and stuff, but still, end of the day, there's gatekeeping on the larger, how to get to the larger audiences and get in theaters and all that shit, which is different topic. But let's talk about that after the show, for sure. For sure. And let me clarify too, when the title, when I say Black trauma is America's favorite form of entertainment, I don't mean in the entertainment industry. I mean that
Like
in life,
as a
America,
country.
in life.
Yeah.
It just even how you said history books, like they keep pushing everywhere in every part. And even it takes me back to, real quick, I'll touch on before moving to the next part. It takes me back to when they were going to put, it always goes blank when I need someone's name, Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
Yeah.
And people thought I was crazy. And I made a post about this. And I was like, I don't like what they're doing. And some people were like, well, why aren't you happy they're putting a black woman on 20? I said, that's not it. All the black people they could have chose. Is Harriet Tubman an important figure in our history? Absolutely. Not arguing that. But look what they did again. They chose someone that was a slave. Like her known thing was slavery.
Yeah.
And they put it on the 20 to it's another subtle way of keep reminding you of what black people are. That's how I looked at it.
Get into it, man. Because then, so I got to ask then, are you okay with what's happening now as far as, like, I forget.
The erasure of black history?
Erasing, like, Jackie Robinson from the history books
all
and
that
certain
shit.
stuff. Because now,
Right.
I think y'all would agree, like, they're actually trying to get rid of, like, even parts about slavery. They want to get rid of.
They call slaves
learning
workers.
about that. They want to get rid of that in.
Yeah, they're trying to whitewash history.
So now, and just asking, bro.
Right.
With what you just said, would that be a supporter of
the whitewashing?
Not reminding.
Well, I think there's two sides. I think there's two sides of that coin, right? I think he is right. That could be another subtle way of like continuing the narrative of like basically slavery was our greatest hits in America. You know what I'm saying? But then also on the side that you're talking about, it's like, well, having Harriet Tubman on the 20 right now in this moment would be huge because they're literally trying to erase blackness.
Yeah.
But again, she's connected to trauma too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so what's the balance, big bro? What's the balance?
That's the tough part.
So there's whole point of the show. There's gray area. It's not that black and white. So that's when I say that. I think a lot of people took it as, all right, well, if you wouldn't want Harriet and you're not for that, then what? I'm not saying.
Throw Michelle on 20. Throw Michelle Obama on. I'll take Michelle.
Right.
Shit, throw Patti LaBelle on.
Yeah, throw Patti LaBelle on. just random black women.
Right.
Just so you know, I ain't against black women on the dollar bill.
Right.
You just throw Michelle on there. You know.
All right, but then
you gotta leave that in.
No, but there's gray area. So am I for that today? I'm not for that. But how I look at it as we never controlled the narrative. So even when we were in school growing up, and yeah, they did have the Black History segment of the history book. You might even have Black History Week at school, whatever. It's just like we still learned about what they wanted us to learn, which was mainly slavery shit, right?
Well, think about it, not just slavery, but even like the biggest thing you learned in Black History Month was Harriet Tubman,
right,
and Martin Luther King, and he gets assassinated at the end of the story. You know what I'm saying?
So they don't say who assassinated him. They don't say that they was on his ass.
No, they don't say the FBI was doing that shit. Like,
they don't say nothing.
No,
and that's what I mean. We never controlled the narrative. So I'm looking at it as like today, is it wrong? Would I fight to stop it? Absolutely. But also, they controlled the narrative, and that's still what they're doing now.
Yeah,
even erasing it is still a part of controlling it and trying to erase it. So I'm not the type of person who puts all my faith in government. And schooling, like back then, school was super important to our parents and stuff because that's where you got your information. And then us coming up, we're the generation where like it was kind of like that, but then
We the first generation to kind of learn to question
you got
a lot of
well
the
because we
authority.
had
Yeah.
because we had both because we had schooling growing up, but then we were still at a young enough age to where we understood technology and all that. So now comes this rush of information. Now we have stuff outside of just what my school's telling me.
I was
Now
gonna say,
do
I was gonna say,
research.
like we had just encyclopedias, so that was it.
Yeah.
What they said was it.
Yeah,
Like when you say they
that's
control
a
the
good
narrative,
point,
like
bro.
they control the narrative in a different way, and not to get off subject, but I'll give you an example. Looking at um, Palestine and Israel right now, this is the first time that this discussion is happening in a social media age. So the narrative of like Gaza always being the bad guy for the first time has been questioned. Because up until then, it was like Israel, 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 Israel. Now you have people on TikTok who like, look at this reporter who's on TikTok on the ground giving y'all the play-by-play of what's actually happening. So now it's the first time I've seen people who be like, this many people be pro-Palestine because the narrative had a chance to change because like you said, outside of the books we have, now we have social media, now we have access to a bunch of information. So that's why I said, like, even I was like, there was like this person, they was doing like a Black history every day. They were doing something different in Black history that wasn't the norm, wasn't the usual.
Right.
And they were telling about inventors. And so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
we finally getting some Black history that ain't about trauma, slavery, or
Right,
assassinated,
right.
you know what I'm saying, great people, you know. So I think we have a chance to start to change the narrative. And because they, you know, the proverbial they know that,
Yeah.
they're going harder to erase it now because they know we starting to become self-aware. We're starting to understand that there's more to us than slavery. There's more to us than segregation. There's more to us than the civil rights movement. Like no, like this whole time we were,
Yeah.
you know, we were doctors. You had the Black dude who did the first heart
Open heart surgery.
first open heart surgery, but he didn't get credit because he was Black. Literally, not because he wasn't capable. He just couldn't get credit because, like, well, you not.
That's right. Because
you
he
know,
worked under that.
he worked
the white
under
guy,
the other
right?
guy,
Yeah.
but he really
But he was
invented.
the one that was the brain.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean. But so
but see, so that's great. Yeah, that's the nuance. That's the nuance that needs to be had in this conversation because if he says this, right, they, the proverbial they, will take it as like, see, that's why we're erasing because we don't want, you know, some young Black kid to think that
they
you
better
know,
than us,
right? That they be
Yeah.
that the world is inherently racist and all this. That's the nuance to the conversation.
Yeah,
bro.
and I think that we have to have all of that context. So then when you say I don't want Harry Tubman on $20 bill, it doesn't seem as
It doesn't
egregious.
yep. Yep.
Because we discussed like no, this is why.
Yeah.
And you have all the context and the nuance of, like you said, because I understand exactly where you come
As your
from.
boy, I was gonna say, I knew what you meant. But like I say, because we are what you say earlier, you so protective of our Blackness, or you might have said it, big bro, but because of that, you say that, oh, you don't think every time is worth
All right, and that's how people come at me. And that, but also too, you know, the whole point of the podcast, the gray area. It took a discussion to understand more of what I was saying, because everything's not as black and white. That's why I'm doing this shit.
Facts.
Literally.
Yeah, and so I know we can go on literally hours about this. We don't have to, but I wanted to talk about the narrative of when Kaepernick was blackballed by the NFL, not just the NFL but America, right? And to this day, people still don't even know that Colin only took a knee because of
a Marine, right?
He was a Green Beret.
Green Beret,
yeah. And his name was Nate Boyer.
It was at his suggestion, right?
Nate Boyer suggested it because it's a symbol of respect.
That's right.
And solidarity for fallen soldiers. So he's the one that told Kaepernick, you should actually, instead of doing whatever you're thinking of doing, taking a knee is going to be the best course to do this.
But folks made it about being disrespectful to people like.
So that's the narrative.
That's crazy.
They said, fuck what actually happened. And this is what they do, Black people. Trauma.
Yeah.
Fuck what actually happened. I'm going to believe what I want. and then I'm gonna run with it. And then especially when the racist white people get on it, it goes crazy because as we're seeing now with this administration, they doing what they want to keep them pure.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room on that.
Yeah.
First of all, and we can go back in history, it's not how you protest, it's what you protest to them. No matter what way Colin Kaepernick protested police brutality, they would have had a problem because they don't believe police brutality is an issue because it's not an issue for them.
Right.
So
they can't experience it.
They try to hide behind all these, like, oh, we don't like it because he's doing it. No, there was, if he would have sat down, or if he would have, like if he would have draped a flag around and like fell on the ground, like there was no way he would have did that they would have been happy with, because they have a problem with what he's protesting, not the fact that he's protesting. I've had discussions with people where, because I talk to a lot of white people who feel comfortable talking to me about the things they take issue with. And I try to make them feel comfortable. I want to hear what they have to say.
Which is good. Same.
I want to know.
And I wanted to try to get non-black people on this episode too.
Yeah.
I wanted to. No, I just didn't do it in time. But I wanted to because I was like, it would be good to see like
to have that perspective. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I talked to them and like,
and maybe you should still do that, by the way.
Yeah,
I can do a part 2.
Yeah, I talked to them, and like I remember talking to some of my people who I actually care about, who were thinking about voting for Trump this time. And my conversations with them were very interesting because I don't think because most people think if you vote for Trump, you're inherently racist.
Right.
I don't think they're all racist. I think they all vote what they feel like is best for them. And I think on an individual aspect, I think black people, we try to vote for most black people. I don't want to say all. Most black people try to vote for what's going to be best for most black people.
All right.
We vote based on each other. White people, but white people, this going to affect my household. How is it going to affect my taxes? How, from a more personal level. But then, so when I spoke to them about the bigger picture and the issues, I saw the light bulb go off. Where they're like, oh, damn. The stuff that black people deal with don't even cross their mind, bro.
Yeah. That's kind of deep because
it don't even hit their radar.
Yeah, and a lot of them, because they haven't experienced it.
Experience.
It isn't real.
Well, there's two different Americas, and I wish people would understand that. There's white America and the way they see it and the way the lens. And then there's the America for everybody who's non-white, period.
Yeah.
And the lens that we live through and the lens that we see life through. But because white people are mostly in power, that means also our government is going to be through their lens before it's through our lens. And that's Republican or Democrat, because, I don't want to get into the minutia of all this, but you think about the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers of the world, they still owe white people. Yeah. They benefit more from what happened for rich people than what happened for broke people. Hmm? You understand what I'm saying?
And again, not to get too off topic, but I have found like that if most black people voted for their interests, as opposed to like the politics and things. I know
where you're going.
We talked about that. Yeah. Remember? Do you know how many black people actually have a lot of Republican views?
Dog.
Do you know how many especially Southern black people?
They align with Republicans on so much more. If Republicans could just stop being racist, they would get.
Don't get a secret out.
Yeah, right.
We talked about
okay.
Right.
I was gonna stop y'all because I'm like, I think I want to do an episode
about that
because we can actually have a whole episode.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But like to your point though.
Like, don't get a secret.
Yeah. But to your point, like you said, like even a lot of the black people who end up voting for Trump this time, it was for their own self-interest. Yeah. And I think the difference between the black women who voted for Kamala and the black men who refused, and I'm talking I'm talking about them specifically.
Talk about it, bro.
Black men who vote for Trump want
to be able to beat Trump. If you talk to them,
He
the
got-
way they talk about him, they like, oh, I love the way that nigga talk. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
you already-
so
oh,
they
man.
want access to that kind of power.
We got to be on that episode because yeah.
No, we good.
They want access to, and then black women want to tear the whole shit down and make it good for everybody. That was the difference to me.
Stop you there because that is a whole another.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
We got to because that
yeah. Because that's. But I brought that up to talk about how, like, I guess we are trauma bonded to the point where we vote for everybody's interest in regards to us
Damn.
before we vote for our own complete self-interest.
But that's how we are, and that's what I said earlier. Like, when
Is
they
that
take-
wrong? By the way,
Is it wrong?
I don't think it's about right. I don't think it's about right
or
or
do you see a
wrong.
problem with it?
I don't see a problem with it, but I do see a problem with it. Because I think all things being equal, we should be able to vote for things based on our self-interest.
self-interest,
But
you're right.
because of the way things are, we kind of don't even get that option.
Damn.
You don't get that
Right.
option. And I was gonna say, like, even when we did do stuff for us, the government literally blew it up.
Yeah.
Tulsa,
When we get yeah.
Black Panthers was protection.
Yeah. But so because of that too, bro, we even got trauma on starting to do for ourselves.
Right, sorry, business.
That's what I'm saying. It started way back.
Yeah.
into sometimes we don't even realize.
So it's
There's
almost
this-
like we're like gun shy to start another
Yeah.
movement.
Because did you even hear when they blew up? It was something in Philly.
Movement. It was called the
It was like 80.
1984.
This is a story that didn't get out, and you kind of got to go.
It was
digging
called
for this one.
Move. It was Move something. It was
I'm
like,
researching
The
this one.
police literally dropped a bomb in this black area
yeah,
and blew that shit
In
up.
Philly?
yeah,
In
1984.
Philly, 84.
But what was it called?
It was called Move something. I can't get it.
Yeah, I'm
It's
like,
like, but it's called like the Move something. But they were kind of like a Black Panther. They were kind of like
Wait, what?
building their own community type thing, and basically
Was it
like,
gonna be another?
yes, it was gonna be like Tulsa.
Yeah,
What?
they had it.
Yeah, they had
It
it.
wasn't as big. I think it was only maybe like a block or
Damn,
two,
bro,
something like
this
that.
is crazy.
They blew that shit up.
And they don't talk
Straight up
about
dropped
that
the
one
bomb.
that as much. Or not.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Because they control the
Damn.
narrative. So go back to what we said about the education. Am I okay with them taking away? To me, I'm like, what the fuck can I do? And that goes back to like, all right, Kaepernick. I tell people all the time, the only way Kaepernick would have got back in the league is if Tom Brady said, y'all are doing this man wrong.
yeah.
Tom Brady is a respectable white man.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers could have said it, but Aaron Rodgers is viewed how we view.
Yeah.
He's too radical,
Mm.
right? But if Brady had did it, and I look at it as like, how are you going to change racist people? We've been saying the same thing that our parents have been saying, our grandparents have been saying. Before that, we've been saying it. We're still saying it.
But
The
you
only
said
way
if you put
people
an
listen-
all-American white face to it.
Yeah, the only way, and I don't like saying it, but it's facts. The only way black people get better in this country, well, not can't get better, but get better from
Give more
the
progress.
people in power, is white people have to do it. Because
No, you have
if
to
I
have
was
white
if I was
allies.
a racist white politician with power, and you two are my son, and y'all came to me one day and you like, all that racist shit you doing, fuck you, I ain't talking to you no more. This is what these people gone through, blah, blah, blah. I'll probably listen to you because you're my kids and I don't want you to. I would at least listen, at the minimum listen, right? But if a black person came by and told me the exact same shit you told me, get the fuck out of my face. I don't care. So
I'm gonna push back a little bit on. So I get the concept if Tom Brady said it, right? But I think y'all would agree, right, that in all the four major sports, right? Hockey, baseball, basketball, football. Football is the sport where the players have the least power when it comes to like the NBA. The players to me run. They pretty much they run that league,
Yeah.
right? Major League Baseball, right? Same with hockey. Football is the one sport where contracts aren't guaranteed. You can get cut at any point. They literally treat these niggas like, I know that the comparison is radical and I'm hyperbolic, but
Say
Kaepernick
it.
on his show,
yeah.
he said it felt like slavery auctions, like when they do the combine, right?
Yeah.
I said it to say, I think it would have taken an owner, just one of
Well-
the good old boy owners, to say,
No,
think
because
Kaepernick
I will
needs a
say,
chance.
I will say, I think.
You think enough? It
I
would have been
think
enough
the
for all
owner.
players?
yeah.
I think the owner from Philly kind of tried to have his back a little bit.
Did he?
Yeah.
But it has to be.
I can't
It
remember.
I
has
think-
to be a type of owner. It had to be a Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
that's
There you
what I
go.
meant.
It had to
That's
be
why I
a
said
Jerry-
That's
Brady.
the good
That's
old
why I
boy.
said
That's-
Brady needed to say
But
Jerry
Yeah,
Jones.
that
so the
good
reason
old
I
boy.
think Brady would have worked over an owner only because Brady was actually perceived as the GOAT.
Okay.
So that's
I
like if
can
Michael
see that.
Jordan was
Yeah.
to come out and say something.
Yeah. But also Brady was still playing too.
Yeah,
He
Brady
was
was
an active player.
Yeah.
He was perceived as a
and
GOAT.
the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's what we learn now. He's a Republican, so he's
Yeah.
like, he's well respected.
Yeah.
Amongst. That's why
So
I
y'all
said
think that would've
like
been
Aaron
enough?
Rodgers
Okay.
is.
Well, yeah,
great.
because he got Antonio. What's the crazy name?
No, Antonio
Freeman?
No,
Who?
No,
I know you're
no. The wide receiver, Antonio Brown.
Oh, Brown.
Yes.
Antonio, he got him back in the league because he wanted him to play with him.
But was he got? Oh, okay, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, after Antonio was wilding
Yeah.
and tripping, but he wanted him. So when Tom Brady said, "I want him to play,"
Randy
yeah,
Moss.
yeah.
Same shit.
So his word
Mm.
was
I
bond.
can
So
see
if he
that.
would have said, "Yo,
But I agree. Like, so yes, and then maybe a good old boy owner says, okay,
I'll pick him up."
yeah. 'Cause
I think if
Jerry
Tom Brady
Jones,
comes
boy,
out, if Tom Brady comes out publicly and say, "Yo, somebody need to put
Need to
this
get
dude
a
on the
guy's
team,
job.
or he could be my backup," he would have been his backup,
Bro,
or somebody
that
would
week
get.
he would have been
he
signed.
would've been
But
signed.
even all right, this is what I mean too. If Brady came out and said, "Hey, by the way, y'all know that Kaepernick took a knee because this Army vet told him to,"
Yeah.
do you think the narrative would change right then?
No,
People would,
I still don't
that's
think
what
that
I'm
would
like,
change.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I feel like it would. I feel like
I think
shedding light on that, and because he's respected by all, that people would have been like, "Oh shit,
I don't
we
think
did
they-
overreact."
I still don't think they would have cared about that. I don't think they would have cared because they mad. If you hear
They're
the
mad
way
at
they,
the wrong thing.
if you hear the way they
They
talk
looked at him
about,
disrespectful.
yeah, the way they
thought,
looked at Colin was
enemy number one.
more not that, but yeah, that, but also like it was more. If you don't like what's going on in this country, you can leave.
Yeah.
So
It was on some
yeah, so
shit,
that
yeah.
means it don't matter what
Yeah.
light would have
Go
been
back
shed.
where
They
you
just
came
like
from.
you. He's looked at as an ungrateful nigga. Like
Yes.
let's break it
Call
down.
it what
Like
it is.
he looked at
Yes.
it like you rich, you play football,
Yeah.
you ungrateful nigga.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How dare you?
You met $1 million contract.
Yeah,
Yep.
you should be happy.
And I'm not talking about those motherfuckers. I'm talking about as far as like getting in the league.
Those are motherfuckers that matter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The fans.
That
I'm talking about as
Brady
far as
said.
getting in the league. If Brady said that, I know teams would have picked him up, would have picked Cap up.
Well, no,
Sure.
that might be one where I'm agree to disagree with my brothers. Just
All right.
because I just think the owners are so fucking powerful in the NFL that like, and Brady's powerful.
But you think it had to be an owner that
I just think what you said, Jerry Jones saying, you know what, I'm gonna give.
well,
him
I
a
think
tryout.
that'll probably be the one person who hold way more weight than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm
in
gonna
that
give him a
conversation.
tryout.
I
I'm
agree.
gonna give him a
Agree.
tryout.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it certainly couldn't have hurt. Tom
Yeah.
Brady,
yeah.
Tom Brady coming out, you're right, because like you said, he was looked at as the GOAT, actively playing too, and playing well,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because that was even before he won another title. Like,
Yeah.
so he was actively still
I
that.
think he won
dude.
two more after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think, let's say it this way. I would have liked to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both.
'Cause you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Yep. Would have liked to see it because you're right. Tom Brady, it would have been powerful though. It would have forced them to at least give him a look. Like,
And
maybe
it
he
would've-
doesn't get him in the league, but at least like,
Well,
Okay.
Tom Brady said and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They would have the league looking crazy.
yeah.
That's why I said I feel like
That's
Cap
a good
would have
point.
been on the team.
Yeah.
Okay,
If Tom
that's a
Brady
good
would have said
point.
it and he
That's a
didn't
good
get a
point.
shot, it would have really had the league.
That's a
looking
good
crazy.
point. Yeah. It would have made them look really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And NFL is all about image.
Exactly.
They care. That's when they started. What was it after Ray Rice?
Yeah.
That's when, because they didn't want to upset the women
Yep.
voters, and of course, and it's a good cause, but wear pink for breast cancer.
Yeah. and- Yep.
But you're right. NFL's about image. That's a great point. If Tom Brady comes out and says, "I think he should be on the team," and they don't,
They look crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. So, image. was gonna go to my next part of this cap conversation.
You
Is
say
that
image?
image? Yeah. So I want to talk about how Cap got so much mass media coverage, for however long. But how much media coverage was there when the Department of Defense sent millions of taxpayers' dollars to the NFL to get bought patriotism?
Wait to get.
Bought patriotism. So before 2009, players weren't even on the field for the anthem.
Really?
So they didn't pay. They were encouraged to be on the field. It wasn't like we pay you, have them on the field. But they were encouraged to be on the field. And I remember this because I was still playing football.
Really?
I was in college. But in high school, we weren't on the field during the anthem. We came after that. In college, we weren't on the field during the anthem. We came after that.
Oh, shit.
And it trickled down to now every level you're on the field during the anthem, right? So this is my problem. All these motherfuckers that act patriot or act like America, blah blah blah. I'm the biggest patriot around, all this shit. If that was truly you, you would be upset that the NFL is taking money to do things. So things that have been proven that the Department of Defense paid for to get in the NFL: military flyovers, color guard ceremonies, national anthem performances, like having an Army vet sing the anthem, enlistment campaigns.
They pay for these things.
They pay for these things in the NFL. Yep. And that's my whole thing, is that people act like this is real. This isn't real. So if you're so mad, if you're one of those people to this day who are up in arms and you at a game, you see someone not standing like this during the anthem, right? And you that pissed off, why y'all ain't in the uproar when the NFL is still taking money to have all this shit?
Well, did you notice?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I did not.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying there was a time before the Kaepernick stuff that you did not have to be on the field for the national anthem?
They weren't on the field, no.
Really?
In the locker room.
You gonna make me go back?
Go
and
pull
watch
up
it.
old game.
That's what I'm like. You gonna make me
Go
like?
pull up old game.
No, he's right. I know he's right.
Really?
Yeah, I know. So
What do you think about? No, like think about it.
no, because I
The
played
Super Bowl.
So I did the halftime show in high school.
Okay.
Did the halftime show marching band.
And you didn't see the niggas on the.
They was not on the field
We
for
weren't
their
on the
national
field.
anthem.
We
Really?
They
cut out
weren't.
after
Yeah,
that.
no, I do remember that.
I'm
Like,
have to wait. So maybe I'm. So y'all remember when Whitney Houston sang the national anthem and you got the
Super Bowl.
so
Super Bowl maybe.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. Yeah, but like the regular game.
season games.
Yeah, it was a regular.
I'm gonna go back and watch some.
Yeah, it was a
games.
regular season game, and
And you played the.
we played the half. Now they was not there.
Really?
The football team was not
Wow.
there.
See,
Football
but
guys-
people don't think about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it wasn't.
Well, that
it
goes back to
wasn't-
what you say about controlling the narrative, though, right? Like how you say they make it.
Yeah.
They make. First of all, they play on our emotions
Mm.
all the time. They play on our emotions.
The time.
And that whole thing about, because again, this goes to like white people think patriotism belongs to them, and that's something
Because
I
they
wish
view-
we would change.
Well, they view them as American.
They view them as America, but also we don't feel that kind of patriotism because we don't feel that way about America. We don't, and I said I wish I could be proud to be an American. Like I wish I could feel that. I wish I could see the flag and be like, I'm putting a flag on my house. I wish I could feel the way they feel about America, but
we don't romanticize.
we don't
it.
romanticize the shit. But
I
again,
feel
this
you.
goes back when I said there's two different Americas. There's the white American, the lens they get to
I
view,
can tell you why when you're done. Go ahead.
and the America that we deal with and go through every day. So we don't get to feel that pride that they get. So now they get to own patriotism.
Ooh.
So they also get to say like, oh, what you're doing is not patriotic. You're not a patriot. Colin Kaepernick, you hate America. You know what I mean? Because of the way we have relented and let them have patriotism, they now get to basically be the orbiters of who's a patriot and who's not, and what it looks like, and what's American and what's un-American.
So I'm gonna disagree on let them have patriotism. We didn't let them have shit. They always had it, because when you came here and killed the natives, you build. That's when you start building your foundation,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So then came America, right? So there the problem we have in America is that, like you said, I wish I could, how other countries are, feel that, you know what I'm saying, and be proud about that. But we're constantly reminded that we aren't American.
We're other.
So, and here's a simple example of that I tell people: why am I African American? Why is this person Mexican American? Why is this person Asian American?
And you just get to be
Why
American.
are you not European American?
Yeah.
Why are you American? There's a dash next. There's always been a dash.
Like white American or
Yeah, look, Irish. They should be with the same thing. So they should be Irish American. They should be
We're called African American.
Yeah.
Right? What do you call white people?
American.
If you don't use the word white, what do you call them?
American.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are they? Though?
Only when
European
I-
American.
Yeah, European.
If we're gonna put the dashes.
I've noticed some people say white American when it's like you say, when they're trying to distinguish between like someone maybe Jewish or where, you know what I mean? Like if it's, they want to be specific.
Between Jewish, like Persian,
Right,
like
or
the
something.
white representing.
Right,
But
yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah, you're right for the most part.
they get to just be American.
Yeah.
There's American, and even fuck, go put in a job app. There should just be American, or you're from another country.
Yeah.
But it's not. Everything's separated in this country. And instead of saying this country is the most unique country in the world, like, let's say you say, okay, they did all that shit. They did the slavery. You know, they killed off a lot of the natives. Not that we gonna forget it, but all right, we here now, right? So instead of saying we are the unique country that we're a melting pot of everything, let's embrace that. And let's embrace everyone here. That's the melting pot. It's still, you're African American. Yeah, it is. It is. But I'm American. I'm the real patriot.
Yeah.
And you aren't like me.
Yeah.
So Colin Kaepernick, fuck you. Stand up. Get off your knee. I don't care why you doing it. I don't
Get
give
up,
a fuck,
boy.
because you're not American. I'm the American.
Yeah.
So because I'm the American,
Mm.
you need to do shit how I think it should be fucking done.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I'm gonna accept this shit. I don't give a fuck if an army vet. I ain't never been in the army. I'm speaking as a racist white person.
Yeah.
I ain't never been in the army in my life. I ain't never been in the military. I'm a patriot though. But I ain't never done none of this shit. But a Green Beret told you to do this. Fuck that Green Beret.
Exactly.
You
I was
shouldn't
saying
be
that's what
doing
it's fuck him too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the stupid shit.
Because you supporting something he's supporting something that's un-American.
It's un-American.
You know what I'm saying? But so
And that's why I say, where's y'all anger for the NFL getting paid to be patriotic?
nobody cares about that,
I
bro.
was gonna say,
Like nobody cares
Right.
about the facts. Like
Yeah.
this is America. One thing Trump has taught me: America don't give a damn about the truth.
No.
America don't give a damn about facts, bro. They don't give a damn about statistics. They don't give a damn about real versus fake. They give a damn about what supports their bias.
Yep.
If what you saying supports my bias, I'm rocking with it. No matter
Yeah.
how false it is, how much of a lie it
Yeah.
is. And you know, if you ain't supporting my
Facts.
bias, I'm against you and you un-American.
facts. Speaking of that, by the way, do you prefer black or African American?
Yeah, call me black. I ain't never been
I prefer
African.
black. Yeah, I prefer black.
Because I think when you say African American, to me, that's somebody who is from Africa
Yeah.
and came here and
Yeah.
then like got naturalized to be American. To me,
But Charlize Theron is African American.
exactly.
Like
Elon Musk is African
that's
American.
crazy, right?
He is.
Right? No,
They ain't looking at it
no,
like
you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
So, yeah, I
So
saw
like,
that.
I'm here. I'm a black
Yeah, I'm a
American.
black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just wanted to be able to say I'm American.
Because before that, we was named after hairstyle. You know, people forget we was Afro American
Oh,
Yeah.
for a long
they
time.
got that hairstyle.
The niggas we was named after hairstyle.
Yeah.
All right. So people dragging the canon Neo, right? And let's talk about just the black and white side of
They
it.
dragging the camera.
Yeah, because he's had multiple
Because
baby
multiple
mamas and
kids,
stuff.
multiple baby
Oh,
mamas.
okay.
I
Oh,
talked about
yeah.
this on another episode.
I
but
thought it was
just-
something new. My bad.
Nah. But I mean, like, all right, getting dragged for that. Neo getting dragged for having 2-3
For
girlfriends
polyamory.
at a time, right?
Yeah.
And then Hugh Hefner builds an empire off of it, right?
Mhm.
So, people also worship Bible figures who also were polyamorous,
Have
and
multiple
had
wives.
multiple
Yeah.
wives, and multiple baby
Baby
mamas,
mamas,
right?
yeah.
But when black people do it, it's a problem. So I don't even want to talk anymore about how the outside of black people view us. Now I want to talk about us. So how we do in our own community.
Okay.
So that's why.
I have actually
Yeah.
strong opinions about this.
Yeah.
So let me just give y'all and I'm gonna try to be quick. Let me give y'all my baseline.
Yeah.
My baseline is I have found that whenever Black people, because we're talking about us, right?
Right.
Whenever we do the comparison thing, I've found that it's not out of some noble like equality thing. It's because Black people just want to get away with the same shit. So my baseline is it's all wrong. Like so yes, I'll be on record of Nick Cannon. I've met him a few times, cool, but I personally don't. Just based on what I've seen, there's gonna be some kids that are neglected in that situation, and I don't like that. Black kids need fathers and mothers, and just from what I've seen, that isn't the healthiest environment relationship. Because I think I saw somewhere like, I mean, because you just can't be, wait, I mean, 11 kids, I think, 12 kids.
Yeah, 12.
You just can't be present, honestly, with like in different houses. You just cannot. You just cannot be a present. I see what a present father looks like.
Right.
I know what it looks like. I know what it doesn't look like because I didn't have that. So whenever people say, well, Hugh Hefner did it, well, then he's wrong too. So when they say it, I go, what is the comparison? Is it because you think he should not get the flack like Hugh Hefner? Or Hugh Hefner should get criticized like Nick Cannon? That's two different things.
Well, it is,
So
but I think
Hugh Hefner, you can say it,
but I think Hugh
but don't
gets
say it like, oh, well, Nick shouldn't get critiqued. No, he should.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Just whatever I've seen us make those comparisons.
But I don't think it's just about the comparison, but I also think it's because Hugh Hefner is literally revered for it.
And he shouldn't.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And he
No,
shouldn't.
but I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
and
when
he
people, I think
shouldn't
when
be,
people make those comparisons, Hugh is revered for, like he said, literally built an empire off of that. Now,
off multiple kids.
not multiple kids, but off of like the player lifestyle.
But so okay, so but then see, that means that's not a one-to-one comparison. Respectfully,
I agree.
we're talking about one-to-one comparison. If you tell me Hugh Hefner had 11, 12 kids,
I don't even know how many did Hugh Hefner have kids.
and I don't think he even had kids. So
I think he had kids.
I don't think about with a
grandpa
single
was.
man living. So that's when we're comparing. We got to make.
I
sure
see what
we're
you're
doing-
saying. Yeah,
You know, I love when we say apples to bowling balls.
yeah.
That's not a one-to-one comparison. Like,
Well,
give me a one-to-one, and I can go.
So
But Hefner, it's
So
like when
it-
we go, it's like, are we saying he made a life off of having multiple kids? Like,
I guess my point is, where would a Black person be allowed to be?
Well, I'm gonna say I think the Neo comparison is a one-on-one comparison.
oh,
Let's say the Neo
Yeah,
comparison. Let's say if
okay, there
Neo
we go.
continues and like he goes from 2 girls.
Yeah.
Neil
To
has
12.
Neil has 3. Hugh Hefner was on record having 3 girls. They had the show.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it was his 3 girls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember,
Right.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Where can a Black person? Let's go back to film. We just want to be free. Let's now move that to life.
No, that's what I said though, right? We want to be able to get away with the same shit.
Well, I think in regards to let's
Right.
say we do the Hugh Hefner and Neo comparison, I think that's the basis of adults in a consenting relationship. They should be able to do what they want to do.
Facts.
But then on the flip side, what you talk about, the reason Neo gets flack because for Black folks, we are actually culturally different from white people in a lot of ways.
Speak on it.
So I think that's what comes into play when you're talking about Neo and the
a good point.
polyamory. It's a culturally Black thing for us to be like, nah, I don't rock with that. So I think that's the difference there. Now,
That's a
in
good
regards to
point.
Nick Cannon and his thing, I agree that he probably can't be present in the household, but then also
and I could be wrong, by the way. But
no.
I just
Well, I'm gonna
haven't
say
seen
also
it
the
yet.
asterisk to that to me is he has the resources to be
That's
able to
what
give
I'm
all
saying.
those kids a really good life.
Yeah. Someone commented the same thing you said to me before, and I was like, "Well, how do you know?" We're thinking of it as if he's living the life we have. We don't have Nick Cannon money or resources. So yes, to a point there is, and this is the gray area, right? To a point there is, you just, unless they're all in the same house, you just can't be in every kid's house the same way or life the same way. But we also don't know Nick Cannon's life like that. Like, I don't even know if the kids live in the same neighborhood. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if they're in different states. I don't know. We don't know.
I mean,
We
I've,
don't-
and if we listen to what I don't know, I've seen some of the mothers say like, yeah, he's not here.
Yeah.
I've seen that, and you know what I mean. So, you know, what do we do? Do we go off of that, or you know,
And you're thinking from the aspect of the kids.
right?
That's not what
and
I was
that,
talking
and I
about. But
think we
yes,
should
that is
be
true.
looking at from that.
From that, I
aspect
don't
of the
disagree,
kids.
but that's not what I was talking about.
Okay.
You're looking at the aspect of the kids. I understand that completely. Because if the mothers say that, then I would say, okay, well, he told you what it was. Why would you do this? If you wanted a present father.
Yeah, could I be like, real quick,
You baby mama
I'd be like,
9.
I was like,
Yeah.
You know
I
what
was like,
it is.
You knew what it was.
The first 3 or 4.
The first 3 I get,
I
but
get,
we got
I'm
to
like,
9.
God, I'm like,
10.
right.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, man.
What was
don't know
your
what it was.
expectation?
Shit, even number
Yeah.
1. Because he told you what it was.
Yeah, but
He
I'm
told
saying
you.
no, but I'm
No,
saying
no,
like
no.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
like baby mama 1 through 3 probably felt like
He
3
was-
kids.
yeah.
He can manage.
Right.
Right.
But when you get to like 8,
Yeah.
9, 10,
Right.
what is really your
At some point,
expectation
yeah.
of how much he's gonna be around when you know you
Right.
9th in
When you
line?
talk about accountability,
Yeah.
that's like
like you know
football.
you 9th in line. You chose this
Yeah.
as well. So for me, it's that, right? It's if he has the resources, and I do think the reason he did it was selfish. Like you said, he had an illness, and he's
Yep.
like, I want to make as many kids as I can before I die,
Yeah.
because he was having a midlife crisis early because of his illness. So I think that was a selfish reason to be like, I want to spread my seed as much as I can before I get up out of here. Because then I'm like, even if then like, nigga, you think you're gonna die?
That's
Then you gonna
what-
just keep making a
yeah,
bunch of kids?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So let me wrap this up. Stupid. I was supposed to
Oh man.
every week I say I'm gonna have a quote, and I only had one from week 1, but it just works for this show, so I'm gonna keep saying it at the end of the show. Time doesn't heal all, but healthy conversations does.
I like that. That should be the quote every week, man. That's
I've been doing it every
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
I've been doing it every
Dope
week.
quote.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out.